Just how easy is the easiest difficulty in The Last of Us? Let's find out. When talking about difficulty in relation to The Last of Us, you may think of the game's grounded difficulty, with its hyper-aware enemies, passive allies, punishingly scarce resources, and even the lack of an in-game HUD to show how much health you've got left. But on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, the game also has a setting called Very Light. The ability to customise the game's challenge level and the plethora of accessibility options are great for players new to the game or to gaming, like my wife, whose brief dalliance with the game when she usually plays Animal Crossing was an experience.
Had a good fight though, made me feel good.
But what is Very Light difficulty like if you're more experienced with The Last of Us? Well, I played it as a way to blow off steam after beating both Part 1 and Part 2 on whole game permadeath, so let's find out. Very Light difficulty means that enemies are at their least aware and most passive, whilst allies are extremely aggressive, resources are everywhere and health is plentiful. But not just that, lock-on aim is on as standard. The game automatically swaps weapons for you if the one you're using runs out of ammo. Clickers actually give you a chance to escape rather than instant death when they grab you, and characters will regularly offer up health packs to you if your health gets low. I had to turn off camera assist, because having the game turn the camera for me sounded more like it would get in the way than be helpful, and to give some modicum of challenge, I turned on whole game permadeath mode, meaning I only had one shot to beat this difficulty, or I'd be reset to the beginning. Not that I was ever worried about that. Getting headshots was a doddle, and for the most part I didn't bother with stealth. Early on, I found out that the auto-aim was just slow enough that it meant you couldn't really shoot an enemy with a melee weapon if they were up close. At least, until they very kindly took a break to allow you to reload and fire. Even after that, I'd lost only a third of my health, had 3 full heals, and there were enough health boosts lying around that I wouldn't even need them. The early sections sneaking past Fedra turned out to be easier to just run through with no thought to stealth. Lock-on aim made killing clickers in the outskirts a breeze, and I still came out of it more flush with ammo than I could have dreamed. Avenging Tess was a doddle, my aim hyper-accurate, and Fedra shooting like stormtroopers. Bill's town was like a carnival shooting gallery, and for once I agreed with Bill.
Well, that was easier than I thought it'd be.
The bloater fell in seconds, and the game positively threw ammo at me in the aftermath. Perhaps things would get tougher once we got to Pittsburgh. Well, not really. I opted to fight through the bookstore rather than sneak past the area, the closest I came to struggling being when a guy with a bat surprised me, where after 2 hits I struck back. Get off. In the hotel basement, I decided to fight rather than run, and it hardly made a dent in my supplies. I played the financial district like a cover shooter, a move sure to get you flanked and shanked even on moderate difficulty. Even the truck, bane of my existence on grounded, was hardly even an inconvenience here. Although it turns out not even very light difficulty can make Henry an actually useful companion. Still, he at least didn't get in my way. I remained so overstocked with ammo that in the sewers it was no sweat whatsoever to kill every enemy in the stalker section and still be able to go wild in the final siege. In the suburbs, the sniper's men stood no chance. And at Tommy's Dam, it was good to play through the 2 raider battles without fear that guy with a rifle would saunter through Tommy's men as they stood idly in order to shoot me in the face. Don't get me wrong, they were no less idle and oblivious, but both the health buffer and the lock-on aim meant it didn't matter. So confident was I that at the university I even decided to take a break for another casual bloater fight. Incidentally, if you're trophy hunting, you need to kill this guy for a Firefly medallion, so this difficulty is the one to go for when you're just out for collectibles. You'll also easily have enough resources to open every shiv door too. But surely, playing as Ellie in winter, there'd be more trouble. It couldn't be quite so easy then. Well, the trick in the coal mine is to know the infected spawn points and kill them quick to avoid them swarming and overwhelming you. So actually, auto-aim makes this impossible to fail, especially as you'll never struggle for rifle bullets and the game actually throws fewer infected at you as well. And on every difficulty, you have the supplies to take the bloater down quick if you know where to look. The fight with David here is still a bit intense, but one enormous difference is that the game allows you to pick up bricks and bottles, making it all the easier if you struggle with sneaking. Technically, you could sneak past every single remaining encounter once you're out of winter, but where would be the fun in that? You have more than enough resources to annihilate the infected, including 3 bloaters in the tunnel. I did give the Fireflies on the lower floor a break by sneaking. Well, except that one guy at the end.
Come on down there.
And I ran past most of the upper floor Fireflies to minimise casualty, though again, except for the guy at the end. Sorry, Jerry. There we go. In just one attempt, taking 4 hours and 43 minutes, I beat the very light difficulty without dying, which wasn't too surprising overall, though at times I was impressed by just how much the game goes out of its way to insist that you succeed. When my wife played the game, not being used in particular to games where you have to control the camera as well as the character, she struggled a lot. Even then, the NPCs in the game just straight up handed her health and ammo when she needed them. Where Grounded is designed around the ultimate challenge, one wrong move meaning death and relying on split-second reactions, there's such a margin of error on very light that no seasoned player should have any trouble with it. This isn't to dump on it. I'm very much in favour of games allowing players to customise their challenge, whether as part of disability accessibility to accommodate less experienced players, or just for people who want a casual playthrough because they don't have the time to take on something more challenging, perhaps because they're exhausted from work or are being continually interrupted by other commitments in the home. Naughty Dog has actually done this very well, because although it might be hard for someone like me to see, there is still challenge there, and if someone new to gaming beats very light and feels confident to take on more challenge, the steps between difficulties, very light, to moderate, to hard, to survivor, to grounded, are realistic ones rather than impossible leaps. The game is designed to allow players to tailor the experience, but also to bring players with it as the challenge ramps up, and that's how it should be. Even if you don't need a mode like Very Light, it's fun to play occasionally. For me, it was a good way to blow off steam and unwind after the stress of my previous permadeath runs, and I'll probably do something in the same vein when I finally beat Grounded permadeath too. So how easy is the easiest difficulty on The Last of Us?
Well, that was easier than I thought it'd be.
If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like and consider subscribing to keep up to date with all my content. Like the video that just popped up, which YouTube thinks you should watch next. This is a Patreon and member supported channel, so if you want to become a member and unlock custom badges and emojis, early access to my videos, and your name in the credits, then click the join button below. Thanks very much for watching, and see you next time.